What's up, folks? Welcome to the Rocket Launcher Podcast. This is episode 50. I'm one of your hosts. It's your guy Omazis, and I'm joined by my co-host.
Yo, and this is Supreme King switching things up. This is the 50th episode, so we just wanted to do something different for a second. Have my co host start it off instead of me. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
hoping to
man.
start my own little YouTube channel soon. Putting it
Oh,
out
you
there
actually
now.
saying it. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
getting that little bit of practice for the hosting. You know,
Okay. Because I was like, if I bring it up on air, he going to get mad. I don't know if he want me to bring it up on air
I need to be held
to
accountable. I've
to
been
put
talking about
some
this.
pressure on him, but I was like, okay, now he bringing up himself at the beginning. Okay. Okay.
So coming soon.
All right. Well,
How
just
you
real
doing?
quick, if you want to mention just for about maybe 30 seconds, what do you want your channel to be about?
Yes. So,
Okay.
I decided I wanted to bring a channel talking about history. I feel like we have a lot of, video game channels, and I want to keep my video game talks to the Rocket Launcher podcast. So on my channel, I want to kind of talk about like cool people in history or different major events that happen in history that we might not know about because we're always hearing about the constant same stuff over and over. Take that as you want. So I want to bring up some fun stuff that happened out through history. So be on the lookout for that. I'll be talking about the channel name and all that stuff in the future podcast once I have it all set up.
Okay. All right. So that's gonna be pretty interesting. So we're gonna divert from things a little bit, I guess. Okay. So some of y'all can get a history lesson after you're done with your gaming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A little bit like that. I should probably address this too now that we're on the topic of channels, because I technically have a whole second channel that
Hey.
doesn't have not one video on it.
Oh,
And it was supposed to be about like TV shows and movies and stuff. And so I am going to be working on that sooner than later. I'm not going to just leave that dead. I'm just trying to figure things out, because one thing that I said behind the scenes with my co-host was like, how do I, do more content on that without having issues with like the copyright system when it comes to
yeah.
showing like possible B-roll footage. Because, some people know how to do it. I'm brand new to this. I don't know how to do it on that level. As far as like gaming footage, like Ratchet and Clank, for example, that's considered to an extent my footage, and nobody's like, you know, up in arms over that. You know what I mean? And so I'm just like, well, maybe I have to figure things out, because there are some people who are able to do like, what's the channel that do like the sins or whatever for
Yeah.
certain things, and it's like they practically took a whole video and just cut it up, and I'm like,
Yeah. Well, because it's
uh,
supposed to be transformative. So talking about it and then occasionally showing clips, or talking over the clips is transformative, but Paramount and Disney and a few others want to act like that's not true. They're trying to hold all of their footage. So it's a constant battle.
yeah, but anyways, we're gonna blow through some of this stuff kind of quick. Ratchet and Clank is on the screen, so one of the big news is about that is that it's coming to PC, and that's generally a positive thing. But I was being tongue in cheek about it a little bit, because I'm like, well, that means PlayStation or Jim Ryan, somebody lied to us about a year ago or 2 years ago when they said this can only be on PlayStation 5. I don't know. Maybe I'm
So I don't
overreacting.
see it, that bad of a thing going on there. But if that was their argument, then I could see your. I must have missed that part. But yeah, they did say it's like you need a PS5 for this amazing exclusive because it's the only thing to keep up with the speed. So now they're just like, oh, it's on this other
Yeah, it
thing
was
too.
because of the SSD. But you know what? I can also like go back on it and be like, well, the SSDs are now starting to catch up on the PC side as well, where they didn't at that time. Technically,
No,
they didn't have it at that time. And it's 2 years later. Of course, the PC market was going to catch up 2 years later. So that could be the excuse. I don't know what the specs
but
are.
now when people argue why do they need a PS5, I can't use the game as an example anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, this whole place. you can play Ratchet and Clank Rift
Yeah,
Apart.
because everything is timed now, and then on the PC side, everything is usually when it gets there is $60 or $50 instead of 70.
Uh,
Where if you jump on
Maybe this will
console,
be the first 70.
yeah, because not only that, even when a game is day and date on PC and on the console at the same time, the PC version we've seen now in more than one case where that one's the $60 version and the other version on another platform is 70. You know,
Yeah.
even even the Switch now is starting to have $70 games, or at least just with Tears of the Kingdom. You know, it's
That extra
yeah.
$10 is their way of saying, "Hey, it won't work on day one." I'm sorry, that's but
Yeah. Listen, Zelda fans are on a whole nother level. That's a strong fan base there. Shout out to
woo.
the Zelda fans. But so Ratchet and Clank, you know, that's gonna be on PC. It seems like there's not too many anchors left. Like you can probably say Last of Us Part 2, but it was pretty much understood that Last of Us Part 2 is probably going to go to PC once the Factions 2 is ready. Factions 2 might go into like one of your topics because you wanted to mention a few games and say they were set up to fail. I don't feel like Factions 2 is set up to fail, but I know it seemed like they're like basically pausing it, not indefinitely. They seem like it's indefinitely, but I don't think it's indefinitely. I heard it was something like 8 months or something. I don't know. It might be indefinitely, but they basically, because of the debacle with the PlayStation Showcase and the multiplayer games with the microtransactions and all of that.
Yeah.
I guess they're trying to like say, hey, let's rework some things now while we're in the middle of it.
True.
I'm still one of the only people who feel like that show wasn't that bad, but I guess it's
I
that
know one of
bad.
the complaints has to do with Ratchet and Clank too. One of the complaints was the whole lack of it wasn't exclusives. A lot of the
Yeah,
games are also going to go to Xbox, and a bunch of games are also going to PC.
yeah,
That didn't bother me as much. In my head, I'm like, everything goes to PC after a while. And then in my head, I was also like, well, when are these games that they're showing off also supposed to be shown? It's like either they got to drop their own trailer and hope people watch it, or it
right,
gets to be in the show. But I do understand the argument that this wasn't like a state of play, like this is their showcase and they're showing off things for other systems. But I'm like, not really. Like they're showing it off. They said get it here, like get it on PlayStation, and it was after the fact. Xbox was like, hey, we have it too. Uh, but I don't know. You still get to pick when you have multiple systems. You get to pick which one you want it on. I don't like the microtransaction heavy stuff that they're doing. I don't mind the word indefinitely. I think the issue is every time we hear indefinitely, that's a sign that like the game ain't gonna come out. I prefer if like I want to look at it definitely as, hey, we don't want to give you guys a false window, and we want to make sure the game is working when it comes out. So we
right.
can't give a date yet. I don't mind that, as opposed to the normal one indefinitely. We'll see. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see.
I think it's more they're realizing they can't get away with some of the stuff they thought they were going to be able to get away with when
Or
it
they're
comes.
trying to find a way to.
Yeah, because microtransactions are just, I don't know. It seemed like it's just, it seemed like the industry is still trying to figure out a way to keep it there without the fan base being angry, I guess. And the fan base is still, at least from what I was seeing with like YouTube trailers and stuff, like they're still disliking everything. They're still vicious in comment sections. And then some of these games, like they fail so hard that they're now starting to delist them in the generation. Like it don't even last a year, even coming out, you know. And I don't know if they thought Factions was going to be like that, but what would they have, like, what cosmetic would you really have for Factions? Like, the whole point is to have an old busted t-shirt on. Like, it was either going to be old raggedy and gray or old raggedy and like brown or something. Like the Joel t-shirts.
What I'm thinking is they might have like cosmetic looks to make you look exactly like the characters.
Yeah.
Like you're dressed exactly like what Ellie wore. Or it might, if they get the licensing, tie into other like games as well, or like IPs. So it's like you look like Rick Grimes from Walking Dead, or other
Maybe.
zombie shows, right? Like things like
Yeah.
that, or maybe there's a skin where you look like one of the zombies walking
Or
around.
they may incorporate Days Gone. This is where you see some Days Gone content.
Right.
It might live on here if they put like Deacon St. John there or somebody else, or like some of the them type of stuff. But
Or they might tie into other Naughty Dog IPs. I know, like
yeah,
for example, Ubisoft does that where it'll be whatever game is you dress up like another Ubisoft character in that game, like in some way.
mm-hmm.
Um, so it might have like an Uncharted look, a Jack
Yeah,
and Daxter look, something like that.
yeah. I think I think they'll figure it out. It's still Naughty Dog. Like it would be really crazy if the game comes out and it ends up being like one of their worst games in like ever, because they usually don't have a bad game, you know. But this would be something new for them because they usually just give you a nice polished game. They don't just give you some sort of online game, you know. But I guess they're just trying to push for that. Like just PlayStation as an industry is trying to push for that on their side. Well, they really don't need to.
I really wish
But
they would stop. It's gonna tie into stuff I gotta talk about. I wish it would stop.
well, let's talk about it. We can go there. That can be the
Oh
next
yeah.
thing.
So turns out with what was it, Redfall?
Yeah,
Um
Redfall.
and I know this one is not PlayStation, that's why, but it's the
Oh, that's
idea
fine.
that like management is just walking into game devs and ruining. So I think Redfall was kind of sent to fail. Uh,
Yeah,
Unfortunately from Arcane Studios, so they were saying that Arcane was known for like single player stuff, right?
yeah,
They were really good at single player stuff, and they had a single player sized team being forced to try and make a multiplayer game where management kept giving them different directions. So somebody revealed that at first somebody was like, "Hey, thing needs to be like Fallout. Like think Fallout while you're making this." And then later was like, "Actually, think Borderlands while you're making." So they kept like changing what the image of this game was supposed to be.
yeah,
And then they're like, "Make it single player." Psych, nah, make it multiplayer. But they're like, "Hey, but oh, we only have a team size for single player," and it's like shrugging. And Xbox was like hands off, or Microsoft was like hands off with
yeah,
like game being made, and they're just like constantly getting different directions to the point where arcade developers, some of them were even hoping the game would be as is canceled, and it would give them more time to actually figure out what this thing is supposed to look like. But instead it wasn't, and then they released it. And I'm starting to hate to hear these stories of just like the game comes out, it's so bad, and developers are like, "Oh yeah, we knew. Like this thing was horrible." Management said just put it out there though. And it's like Cyberpunk did it. This
yeah.
is doing it. Uh,
Cyberpunk
it-
is probably still going to be the worst,
oh
simply
yeah,
because they lie like to your face or lie. They was like, oh, the PS4 version and Xbox One version is like playing real good. It was like that was a clear lie. It was like with the other ones, it's just they're coming out bad, but they don't lie about it like initially. At least like we heard for Redfall, for example, we heard it was gonna be 30 frames like ahead of time, right? You know, we didn't. They didn't just come out like, oh, it's 30 frames when it's not supposed to be. You know, they did tell us, and it did hurt their like momentum a little bit, but at least they told us. Where Cyberpunk,
yeah.
man, they just straight flat out lied. There's
They
no,
released it on day one. They were like, "Hey, it's still fine." And there was
yeah.
like a credit to it, and she was like, "That's just you. It's fine."
They had the dude, like the main dude, did his little like apology video that didn't nobody
uh,
accept, and he was clearly reading something, and at the same time he paid himself bonuses, and I think he stepped down according to the reports and
yeah.
stuff. But he still paid himself bonuses first after still screwing that up and everything. So yeah, Redfall, you could argue
So
it probably was set up to fail, because I think I did see I saw like a article. Maybe it was the same one where I guess somebody said that like the developers wanted to cancel it. I guess at one point.
Yeah, that was the thing. Is developers were like, "Please cancel this, so we can have
Mm.
more time to actually figure out a game." And Microsoft was like, "No, release it." Like management, and it was like investors and everybody was like, "Release it.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine." But it was like they said as developing it, they didn't know what they were making. Like it was just right. Like they kept getting
Yeah.
directives of all different stuff, and it just shows that like it's weird that the people making all of the calls and all of the shots seem to fundamentally not understand how video games work or how video game players work. They're just like, do something like this, give us money, and like bleed out the gamer for all of the money that they have, is what they're doing.
I looked at it like I looked at that game Redfall the same way I looked at Borderlands. I was just like, it's Halloween edition Borderlands at night. That was just how I looked at it.
Well, Borderlands was one of the directives they were given after Fallout.
Yeah. But Borderlands, even with Borderlands, like I know it gets a lot of praise and everything, but I honestly think it shines in co-op. But outside of co-op, I don't think I would have stuck with it this
Same.
far, because we've
Some of
gone
the
through
humor
most
is
of
funny,
it.
but some of
Yeah.
it, gameplay itself was like,
Yeah, but the gameplay kind of drags because they make you go through all those side missions to try to build your level up just to do the same thing that you was like, man, you could have just did it, you know?
And that's I think that's my issue is that I don't necessarily find a lot of the side missions that entertaining. It's usually just, hey, I'm doctor and I need you to grab this one thing, and then when
Yeah.
you finally grab it, it's like, okay, give it to me, and then somebody else goes, or you could just give it to me, and then you like deliver it, and that's it. Like it doesn't feel like it adds anything valuable
Yeah.
to the story. So for like when people like hear what I'm saying, it's like a game where I feel like side missions are like, yo, do these. Outer World. I felt like that the side missions added so much to the story. I've heard Witcher 3 is another one where side missions are like, do those. Sometimes those are the best stuff. So
Yeah,
like,
well, Witcher 3 especially, that one was like the side missions was just as good as the main, as well as like some of the DLC. I believe Hearts.
And then Borderlands is out here forcing side missions that are touch quest. And it's just like, I don't want to do these.
So for to be a little bit more transparent for the audience, like you and me just got done with the pre-sequel, and there was just a moment where it looked like we were at a climax or it was almost done, and then next thing you know, before the next mission we were like 5 levels behind or something, and it ended up stretching the gameplay like 2 more weeks or something, because we only play it once a week. And so it dragged it when it didn't need to. And then we finally did get back to like the story missions and stuff, and then we just kind of played it. But it's like if they didn't do that, it would have been like 1 or 2 more missions, and then we would have rolled credits. But it ended up being 2 more playthroughs of like 3 or 4 hours each. You know, and then we rolled credits. It was like that was kind of unnecessary, but it was because of the side missions that kind of did it. So yeah. Funny enough, I was gonna mention Borderlands 3 as far as like sales once we get to that point, but yeah. So you also want to compare Redfall to like Anthem?
Yeah, Anthem turns out was also set out to fail. One of the former BioWare developers said that Anthem was forced out with just 15 months of production. Turns out, and they said for a game of that scope of what they were trying to do, 15 months is not enough. And he was saying that they had like ideas and stuff, but I think he said like 3 months, or it was like about 6 or 7 months before release, all they had done was like the basic class, like about halfway through, and they still had like 3 more classes to go. So it was just not enough time for this game. And when I played through Anthem, I beat the whole story. It was fine. It's really repetitive. You're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. And the story's very meh. I enjoyed my time with it, but there
Yeah.
was definitely parts where it could have been much better, much better. It's sad that it was abandoned, and apparently they were really working on some stuff to fix the game for that 2.0 Anthem, where they were like, we're gonna rework it and everything until
It
everybody was
just
just
got
like, nope.
scrapped. Yeah.
Yep. PlayStation was like, nah, you good. Or what the play? Or EA? EA. EA was like, nah, you're good. Scrap it, and just threw it away. But to hear this like your rush development time as well, and again, it's coming from execs that like it needs to fit this window. Go. And it's just
Yeah.
and the I know one of the biggest complaints for that game too, and again, it's going to tie into a third thing they want to complain about. It's a looter shooter, and you have to pay for certain loot. Like the
Yeah.
microtransactions was heavy in the paying.
Well, Anthem, I didn't even get that far because when I was playing it, like it kept crashing to the main
Yep.
screen because it was, it was still stuck online and everything. But I was just
ran
like, eh.
into one major crash with Anthem, and it wasn't even a crash. It was me and a friend playing, and we ended up beating a boss before it even finished its dialogue. And because of that, like the game didn't know what to do. Like, so we didn't get a cutscene or nothing like that, and I had to look it up, and then we had to like basically kill our own characters, in order for the game to reload and be like, okay, they beat the boss and everything, which is not an easy thing to do because you can't just drop grenades in front of yourself. So it was really dark. We had to like basically go into the water until like it was like come up for air and not come up. Like it was extra dark. So we had to do just for it to reload because you couldn't even exit. I was like,
Yeah, that sounds dark.
You have to unalive yourself in the game. And I was like, oh my god. So yeah, that was my big answer. But like other than that, like it was cool. I liked my javelin. It was fun to play as for like a little, for a while. It was definitely fun to play with other people. There were some missions that I was able to own on my own. It didn't need the microtransactions, and it's here that I was like, 15 minutes and giving up. I'm interested to know what Anthem 2.0.
Yeah, I think they was moving on because they wanted to work on Dragon Age and a couple other things.
Which I'm a big Dragon Age fan, so I get it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's fine. But like, still, and I remember the false advertisement too, where it was like fly around pretty much as Iron Man, and they didn't tell everybody it was with limit. Like there's a time limit, you can't just fly all.
Yeah, because that's how I was approaching it. I was like, oh, I get to play as an Iron Man-ish person. And it was kind of cool. And then next thing you know, it was just crashing. And I was just like, all right, I'm done. But now, the other thing, though, you think that Diablo 4 is going to be set up this way. To fail. Now, you're going to upset a few people with that one, but...
Yeah. So... I was looking forward to Diablo 4, and I think part of the issue with Anthem that people complained about was the egregious microtransactions. One of the complaints for Diablo Immortal was the egregious microtransactions.
Yeah.
Diablo 4 got sent out with egregious microtransactions. So one, there's a crash on the PS5 currently, where is for some reason it's unable to find a valid license for the game if you buy it digitally. So I was trying to say you don't own it. And in order to play it, one of the workarounds is to purchase in-game, with the cheapest in-game currency pack.
Right.
And then it goes, oh, you do own this game. So I'm like, so they're forcing you to buy? But there is a free workaround as well that you can look up if you need it. However, in there, and people are arguing it's cosmetic, and I was reading arguments where some people when I played Diablo 2 or things like that, all of it was in the game. Why is it no longer in the game? And other people was just like, well, it's just cosmetic. Why are you complaining? Relax. It doesn't do anything for the game. You're not paying to win. It's just a cosmetic suit. But it's when they do that, all the cool stuff is pay, and all the like boring stuff is in the game. And I can call out, for example, Fall Guys for this. When they went to their free to play model,
Yeah.
all the things you earn in game or the things that require the kudos to purchase in the store, which you can only act like earn through playing the game, uh that stuff is like a wristband. It's like, hey, you earned all these kudos. Now you can wear like a spiky wristband or a backpack. But if you pay real money, then you get to look like uh Doom Guy, or you could look like the characters from the show Invincible or SpongeBob. Like, but that one you have to give us money, like real money for. Where like
Yeah.
when the game first came out, all that stuff was in the game. Like there were costume packs that you could purchase, or you can earn enough kudos to eventually get them. This one, the currency that they give, really only going to get it by paying. Like you have to pay to get this thing because there's multiple currencies, right? Or you used to like a battle pass, right? You level up and you get costumes. Now you have to buy the premium battle pass to level up and get the costumes. Otherwise, you only get bits and pieces of it. And even then, the super cool stuff like the samurai costumes that we used to get and everything, no, those are for purchase. Like you got to purchase those ones. These ones are still a little more generic. That's still messed up. And that's what Diablo 4 is doing. I don't care if it's just cosmetic and it does nothing for the game. It's a looter game. Like
Right.
the premise of the game is to loot, and you're paying $70 to $100 for it, depending on which edition you get. And even if you get the $100 premium like super edition, that doesn't mean you get the cosmetic store stuff. You still have to pay for those. And as of release, I believe it's about $300, like $350, to buy everything in the store. So you have to pay $450 to have everything Diablo has to offer right now. And
Mm.
like that's insane for a game where the whole purpose is to play and loot. Like the whole purpose is to play, redo stuff, and like go through to find chests, explore, find chests, and unlock things. Why am I also paying for the cool stuff? That makes zero sense to me.
Right.
Uh so it's like to do, and like they're not cheap. Like the one of the armor sets costs $25 basically to get,
That's
because you have
crazy.
to pay the money for the in-game currency stuff. So it's $25, and you get to
That's
have this
crazy.
premium armor set for a $70 game. Like I can understand if it's free to play, like a free to play game, and this is how they make their money. Okay, sometimes I still think some of them are egregious, but like it is still free to play. And yes, I see the argument that you don't need cosmetic stuff
Right.
to play the game at all. Like you don't need it, but like that's part of what fun about Diablo.
Right, but
Like
if the best stuff or the best looking stuff is all behind a paywall,
they know
then
what they're doing.
yeah, there's no point to really, like, you wouldn't grind it out because
Right.
you would get the lesser than product basically for just simply playing the game.
Exactly. And the way I can compare it to like certain games where I'm like I get like micro transaction, like for example, Uncharted, right? It's
Yeah.
a story driven game where you are Nathan Drake. And if they wanted to be like, hey, pay us $2 and now you get to look like Lara Croft instead. Or pay us $2 and you get to look like Indiana Jones instead. Because they're not in the game. It sucks, but I get it because it has nothing to do with the game. Because Uncharted is not a looter game, it's an adventure game.
Yeah.
Versus like if they would have put like you have to pay to get some of these outfits and stats in God of War, when part of the game mechanic is putting on armor, and now they're like you got to also microtransaction store, I would have complained just as much. So it sucks that this is happening for Diablo as well, because one of the big things is as soon as we saw Immortal, we're like, uh-oh, this is a trend and we don't like it, and now they're putting it here, and what's going to stop them from putting more things like pay to win stuff? They say it's not pay to win. Avengers wasn't pay to win at first. Avengers was full cosmetic stuff, and then after a while they were like, hey, you guys are getting too strong too quickly. Like the game is fun when you unlock all the abilities, but that's happening too fast, so we're going to slow down progression. But if you don't like that, then you can pay to like progress faster. And they did that after the fact.
Right.
They could do that after the fact here. It was the same issue with Crash Bandicoot, Crash Team Racing, where part of the game is unlocking new characters and outfits and things, and then they put it behind a paywall, essentially. Where
That's crazy.
and
That was one of my favorite games as a kid. That's
yeah,
crazy.
so it's just I don't know, it's silly. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Diablo
Especially for
still
kids.
has an audience, but we'll just have to see, as we go on. But
I want to play it. I want to play Diablo 4. I'm
right.
not playing it at launch with this. Like I'll wait now. It's like, well, you're getting your money from everybody else, so I'll wait till I can get it from used from GameStop.
Hey, more power to you. I do want to mention real quick because one of the footages that's on the screen is actually Tears for the Kingdom. So I went against my better judgment, and I was like, I'm gonna put this on here as footage because if I didn't, it would have been like the part 2 of like what last week's looked like, and it would have been exactly the same. I was like, okay, I'll stab this in the middle and just give my impressions real quick. So my impressions for this is just, it's exactly what I wanted it to be. I'm really happy with it because I wanted something that was like more of a de-stressor, like something that like you can just like, as soon as you're done with work or something, you could just play. And it's still got that same, soft music in the background. You're still running around exploring and you're in a different setting. He has different abilities here and there. Now, this is actually like my second footage, I think, because the first footage had a little too many cutscenes that I thought was probably more spoiler territory. So with this is just, I'm just running around, in a different area, whatever, in the sky or whatever. But yeah, what you would expect for anybody who hadn't gotten it yet, it's pretty much the same as, Breath of the Wild. And we pretty much knew that anyway. But yeah, I think it's definitely a great addition to Nintendo. I still don't agree with how they're treating everything surrounding the game and everything else, but at least they did put out a really nice game here. It is still 30 frames, like you can see, but it's still good. It's still good. I cannot stress how good it is as far as like helping you de-stress. Like it's just, I can just put this on, run around with that soft music, and it's just like chef's kiss after a like grueling day of just chaos or something, yeah, but we can move on. I think I do want to mention, I guess real quick, I can do the halfway point because I think we're going to move way quicker than what I thought. So the halfway point is the Epic free games. As far as free games, I mean, like without having to have your credit card, you can just have a profile, and then maybe you can buy some stuff later if you want to. But if you never buy anything, you can still claim all the games until you get, let's say, a PC or the Asus Ally, which is coming out really soon. And then you have this library. But the game that's free for this month is actually called Midnight Ghost Hunt. And that's free from now until June 8th. And then afterwards, there's going to be a mystery game at June 8th. So we don't know. And I don't know if they're going to keep doing this. Do you think they're going to keep doing this where it's just a mystery now and they don't tell you right away?
I think so. I think they're having fun with it.
Yeah, it might have something to do with sales for certain games. Maybe the companies might have complained. I don't know.
Either that, or I also think, one, it does let them change last minute if they want to.
Yeah.
But two, it keeps people jumping onto the app. If you already know what's coming up in advance and you don't want it, you don't open the app for 2 weeks. But now every week you have to open it to see if you want this game.
Right.
I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah, so the mystery game will be, I think, at midnight on June 8th, or it might be the next morning. I'm not sure. But it's going to be June 8th or June 9th, like at the latest. And then I did have a couple sales that I saw under Epic. I thought I would just mention it because it was like coming off of one of the franchises that we were playing. So Borderlands 3, if you don't already own it, right now it's on sale for $8.99 under Epic. And funny enough, Battlefield 2042 is on sale under Epic as well for $14.99, and apparently the game is now at the point it should have been at launch according to the fan base. So apparently it's better or good enough. And it came out when the systems launched, I think. So it's good enough now. And it's $14.99. So if you want to jump into it, I guess now is the time. You got any sales? Anything you want to mention?
Nothing as of note. However, PlayStation's big summer sale is going on, so I'm sure you can find definitely a game there. I know Sifu's
Definitely.
on sale. And it came up in my notifications like Sifu's on sale, and I can't remember the other game that was on sale, but like there's a bunch of stuff that's on sale. So
Yeah, I think
for those.
funny enough, everything else is almost all just like newsworthy stuff that I can probably just squeeze in here. You know what's funny? Will Smith. We love Will Smith, right? So Will Smith apparently is jumping into the gaming world.
Yes.
He's going to be in a game called Undawn, and it looks like they tried to get or just capture his character, I guess, a little bit from I Am Legend. Just the way he presents himself and everything. And so it's going to be something similar to I Am Legend, and it's going to be in this game. And it's supposed to be an open world RPG survival game. Will Smith will be Trey Jones in this game, apparently. And it's not just it's not going to be like just zombie characters. It's going to be like some big monster characters that he's going to have to like shoot or whatever. And so
Okay.
he's going to be doing that. It looked silly. Like when you actually look at it, it's funny. It got a lot of dislikes too. I don't know if it's because of like Will Smith in general, but people didn't look like they were liking it. And they got his face messed up a little bit. They didn't do it right. It's funny because there was these pictures shown before of like Unreal Engine 5 where they had his face and I think like Morgan Freeman and a couple other people where they did it almost like perfect where you almost couldn't tell. And it's like whoever was developing this, they didn't get his face right. It don't look as good. It doesn't look as like it's him, you know. It's like some details that's a little off, but he is going to be in this game. They did a lot of shots where it looked like I Am Legend in a way. So, yeah. How you feel about this? Did you see this?
I did see it. He looked like a Fortnite character.
Yeah, he kind of did.
Very cartoony.
If I'm not mistaken, he got a Fortnite skin. He
Does-
as one of his characters, it might have been the Men in Black character. He got a Fortnite skin. He do got a Fortnite skin.
They just use that model then. Yeah. I don't know. Like I'll keep it, I guess, on the radar. I don't know if I'm gonna like jump at it, but
not only that, I guess I can. We'll see. I'll keep up with it a little bit because I don't know if he's doing voice acting or anything because they didn't really show that. But another game that got announced that was interesting. Remember Hot Wheels Unleashed? Apparently, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 is coming, and that's Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 turbocharged. And some of the big differences I saw is that they do a lot more like in real life kind of thing, where it's like almost Toy Story, where it's like these cars are racing around like kind of like what Mario Kart did with that toy, where it's like you create a track. They have some tracks where it's like in real life, like they're actually the Hot Wheels toy, where it really emphasizes that they're really the Hot Wheels instead of just a car. And so you'll see like some Toy Story type stuff where the background is like this big exaggerated kind of house or whatever. So but that's coming. I guess that's coming.
I wanted to try out the Lego Drive one. You made me think of that one.
I think that's new. That's new, right?
Crazy microtransactions. But I'm interested to see the Hot Wheels one.
Yeah.
The Hot Wheels had the first racing game I think I played, and that was not that bad.
Yeah. I just feel like I feel like it's too new or it's too soon. It almost seems like they just created more tracks and it probably could have been DLC. I don't know.
Probably. I don't know if it was too soon because I didn't play it until it was given as a PlayStation Plus game, and I don't
Right.
know if it was given right away.
It
But it was given
wasn't.
as a
It wasn't
PlayStation
more than a
Plus
year
game.
old though. It was
Okay.
like it was still relatively new because that
Then
was
yeah, it's
around the
too.
time I remember because that was when the Bayonetta stuff. Because I remember the footage that was showing when you was playing was when we was talking about the Bayonetta stuff with the actress and stuff, and like the game couldn't have been more than 6 months old at that point, if I remember correctly. So it's not too old, but yeah, they're gonna come out with another one. It's not coming out immediately. It's probably coming out either later this year or early next year. But it sounds like it's probably later this year. But yeah, they're gonna pump out another one. It wasn't too expensive. The last one, if I remember, this was like a $40 game, if I remember correctly. So I would
Okay.
imagine the next one's gonna be $40 as well. Yeah, but we don't have to spend too much time on this. But I just want to mention also, the next Xbox show is on June 11th. By the time the next episode comes out, we probably might have some predictions. I guess I don't know because it's gonna like when the show come out, it's gonna be on the same time. So we're recorded the day before, but I don't know. I think that they just need to have a solid. They just need to have a solid show, and they need to capitalize. If everybody's saying the PlayStation show was bad, they definitely need to capitalize. This will be the time that they can and try to right the wrongs for Redfall, I guess. Outside of that, I think 2 days later, the Asus ROG Ally drops. That's going to be on
Hey,
June 13th. So that was announced this past April, and it's just boom. Here it is. If I remember correctly, it was like people thought it was a April Fool's joke because it got announced on April 1st, and that's like the quickest turnaround. Like, bam, this is coming. They're not even waiting until like the holiday season. It's like, no, it's coming now. So, yeah, plenty of people have already gotten review units. I am still thinking about choosing this over the Steam Deck, but I don't know if I'm going to do it right away. If anything, it'll be more closer towards my birthday. That makes more sense. You know my birthday. They don't know it. But it'll be more around that time. That make more sense. At that point, it'll be a little bit more seasoned and we'll know if it's actually good or if it's bad or not. But yeah, I guess we can move forward with the news. So one more thing, I guess I don't know if it's really news, but I just want to give props to Street Fighter 6 because
yeah.
it came out and it is actually pretty good. It reviewed pretty well. Most places gave it a 9 out of 10 or 9.5. And it's a game that came out with virtually no big bugs, big crashes. We didn't hear all those type of stories with this game. It just came out and did its job. And unfortunately, games don't do that nowadays, but Street Fighter 6 did. And so I will be looking forward to playing this. I still am one of the people who want to wait until all the characters are like out. Like they do like some sort of championship edition, maybe like last one. But you don't have to wait too long because they do still have the early access and demos and stuff that you can play that I have already downloaded. But as far as the full release, I want to wait until they have like the complete edition. I want everything in one. That's what I want. But
I agree.
yeah, it's still out. It's still out and it's doing great. I appreciate it. How you feel about this? How you feel about them actually doing what they're supposed to do? These people did their job.
It's so nice to hear. Like it's so nice to hear a game come out with all the hype it has, and you don't have to
Yeah,
hear follow up after going, "We're sorry, we knew it was messed up, and we just still put it out there anyways." And we were forced to because like it's
yeah,
so nice that it's like it came out and it is good. It's a
yeah,
little sad that like it has to get special props because of that, or like, hey, what are like great
yeah.
games?
Technically,
Street
shouldn't.
Fighter and
Yeah,
what was it? Dead Island 2 because they work, right? And it's
yeah,
like I want more than that. And of course, Street Fighter gets more than that. It's actually I heard it's good. Uh,
right.
So shout out to that, but it is sad that like it's like the first thing you have to ask is like, well, first did it work? Like
Right,
it
right.
just sucks that we're there. But yeah, shout out to Street Fighter. I'm still waiting. Like you said, I want a complete edition. Uh, everybody in there.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to talk about, which is funny, is also going to be very brief. I just wanted to give props to MetaQuest 3.
This
For
is breaking because like you
yeah,
are the most
yeah, I would.
anti-meta.
Yeah, I would
So
normally bury Meta, but the only reason I want to give props to the MetaQuest 3, it's funny because it kind of goes back to PSVR 2. MetaQuest 3 will be $500. I do still think that that's still kind of high for VR, but at the same time, I know the VR market that actually is low and more competitive. It's just high in general for a consumer. But the biggest thing that stands out to me was apparently MetaQuest 3 will be fully backwards compatible with
that's nice.
MetaQuest 2 and 1. And so
That's up.
that stands out to me because that was the one thing that made it a deal breaker or not for VR2, because I wanted to have VR1 games without buying the headset.
Yeah.
I wanted to, and so they didn't do that. But at least with MetaQuest, with all the other PC VR games and stuff that it can play, you can still just play it, and it upscales. Apparently, it upscales some stuff. And so, yeah, that's the big deal. That's a big deal to me. They still have some cool looking stuff. I think I wanted to highlight just a couple of them. They had Stranger Things. They had like a VR game for Stranger Things that looked pretty cool. And then they had a Ghostbusters game called Rise of the Ghost Lord. Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord, which was also VR. That looked cool. And the one that I thought was pretty cool looking, which is ironic also, because I'm going to give props to this game, Attack on Titan. They had an Attack on Titan VR game that actually makes it look way more like
Scary.
like immersive. Yes, it's scary and immersive because now you really swing it, and
Yeah.
the way it was looking was like a Titan could have
You,
like grabbed you at any
that's what I was like,
moment.
can you imagine you in VR and you like swinging through the air, and then there's just as you're swinging forward, this giant hand just comes like
Yeah,
sweeping around, and you cannot move. And, like you just swing it right
yeah.
into the palm. Like, oh
That's
no,
how they showed it too. That was how they showed it. They had like a hand
scary.
come down and you had to swing by it, and you're still trying to aim for their neck, and they were still doing things. I don't think it's the VR version of the other Attack on Titan game. I think
Okay,
this is his own thing. It looked like it was his own thing.
that's what's up.
Um yeah, so they reworked it for VR, I guess. It has another name. I think it was Unbreakable or something, like Attack on Titan Unbreakable, something like that. But like this was at a MetaQuest showcase. They showed like a whole showcase. They just start showing a few things, but that was one that stood out to me that I thought was good. But the big thing was they did undercut VR2 by $50, and it's backwards compatible.
That yeah,
So that's
and
that's
you are
interesting.
correct. Attack on Titan Unbreakable.
Okay, yeah. So I thought it was cool. I was like, you know what? Like I'm still like I'm not trying to say I'm sold on it, like I'm about to buy it right away or anything. If anything, I will wait and still, still find, like, even with the back catalog, what are the games that make me want to play it, you
Yeah,
know?
a buddy of mine, he only plays VR, so he has like a VR
Mm,
headset, a high end PC with high end like every like he is like if he's playing a racing game and everything, he is on the track. Like that's his stuff
yeah.
is high end.
It's funny because I would wonder how he would feel about them doing the MetaQuest 3 so soon. Because can you look up
Yeah,
real quick? When did the MetaQuest 2 come out? Like the release date? Do we know? Like,
Quest 2
yeah. Like it don't
was
seem like it was
released
that long
uh,
ago.
October 13th, 2020.
Yikes. So every 3 years, maybe?
Yeah,
$500 every 3 years? That seems like it's a little too soon You think it's too soon? I
I
don't
think
know.
so. I feel like, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't feel like they're producing games
Yeah,
at the amount that would require you to need a next gen.
yeah,
I think.
and don't get me wrong. I'm still a little like I didn't like the idea that they raised the price by $100 of the MetaQuest 2. You remember that? That wasn't too
Right.
long
Yep.
ago either. Um, I'm a little bit more like acceptable about that type of system being almost 500 or 500 or more now because of like everything else kind of being like that. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I don't think I would want to like buy that and then there's another one like they do part 4 3 years from now. That seems kind of fast. You know what I'm saying? Because by the time you
Uh,
say, "Oh, I want to wait for a sale or wait till the game comes out that I might like," then they gonna come out with another one.
I
Like,
will say the Quest 2's price dropped.
okay, how
So
much is it?
starting June 4th, the Quest 2 the price is being dropped to 299
So it's back to where it
from
was.
300.
So it
Yeah,
was
back to
300.
300.
Because if we remember correctly, it went up 100 for the holiday season until now. So it went up for 6 months until they came out with the next one. They could have
Yep.
known that they were probably going to come out with the next one. Like they definitely knew that. So I don't know. But I guess that's all I got for you, man. I don't know. This is going to be one of the shortest
Well,
episodes, but
I
that's
got one
fine.
more thing though.
Sure.
Yeah, so I was gonna bring it up last week and also forgot.
Okay.
AEW Fight Forever that drops the end
That's so
of
funny.
this
That's
month.
on my list too. We would have forgot about it twice.
Yep. So it drops June 20th. Sad news for anybody that was looking forward to this part, but there is no community. You have to make everybody like.
Yeah, that's
I'm
real
sure there'll be
bad
guides up
for me.
that'll like, yeah, same. And I'm sure there'll be guides up like, here's what you put in to do this. I used to
Like
do
the
that
PS2
back in the day.
days.
Yeah, where they give you like, you have to go to this number, this number, this number. Boom, you got this wrestler. So you have to put in the work for it. They have a story mode, uh, like a career mode sort of thing. It's called like Rise to the Elite or something like that.
Yeah.
Or Path to the Elite. And they have their little funny mini games in there.
The Matt Hardy
Um,
trailer was funny. I don't
yeah.
know if you
So they
saw
just
it.
dropped a trailer. The pre-order bonus is you get Matt Hardy, and the whole tagline is "But which one?" So it was regular Matt Hardy dealing with delete Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, we're trying to see. So I don't know if like we get one of them or I don't know how they're doing it, but yeah, that seems interesting. I don't know. They have a nice filled out roster. It's a game I'm willing to try out. I have seen some interest from like wrestling fans who don't really play video games like that. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
some of my crew that like they really like if they're gonna play a video game, it's Call of Duty or they're playing NBA 2K, like or Madden, and that's it. Like that's the only games they play. And they saw trailers for this, and a lot of people are going, "Oh, it looks like an upgraded No Mercy," and they're willing to jump back in.
I will admit,
So
I thought about pre-ordering it myself.
okay,
And when I looked at the UI, it did look like some of the old N64 games and stuff.
yeah, which
It
I
is,
know that's what they wanted originally.
yeah,
I am still shaky on it. Like sometimes it's like I like those graphics, but then sometimes it's like I don't want my new games to look like that. So I don't know. I mean, the gameplay is still really fun. It's just it's games that the last game that kind of looked cartoony like that was like not good, right? It was at WWE like the one with the Legends
All Stars
All Stars or whatever. Yeah, it was not
or
good.
even
What I,
what just came out? Battlefield, the one with the alligator that like choose you
yeah,
up.
that's the one I was thinking. Battleground.
Battleground. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's because of that. It's like I need to see it in action and like, of course, still hear how it is first, but it's a game I'm willing to try.
I also would like to know how frequently are they trying to come out with a sequel? You know,
Oh, yep.
that's probably going to be a bigger
I hate to
thing.
get this and then like within 9 months it's like boom, part two.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like I think if they want to listen to fan base, it should be every other year. But
Yeah.
at the same time, if I remember correctly, Tony Khan's dad was upset with him over this or something, because I think he spent more money on this than it should have been or something out of the budget. And so he
okay,
sounds more like a Vince
they have
McMahon
enough
kind of
money.
person. Yeah.
Like, they have enough money, but like, he owns the whole football team. Relax. Two, I
Yeah.
hope that doesn't mean he's involved in, like, we gotta have a way to recuperate money.
Yeah,
I
it
hope that
sounded like that at first, because I think the initial budget was something like 40 million or something crazy. It was a lot.
wow.
But it was like typically the AAA games get that much of a budget, but like I think his dad was upset about that. It was like, that doesn't sound like you're gonna get a profit right away, like, or something like that. It was like really early on in their development or something. So I was like, I don't know, that might mean he might want sequels like really early or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do hope at least it's not like the TNA game where it's just like this one and done piece of crap. Like, no, I want to see.
Well, now, keep in mind too, Evil Uno revealed that the game starts off with over 50 people, but then new roster members and game modes will be added in as downloadable content. But he compared it to No Man's Sky. So I don't know if they're gonna make you pay for the downloadable content, or will just the extra stuff just popping in. Because No Man's Sky, the fact that he picked No Man's Sky
Yeah.
as the example when, like, instead of Fortnite, because like No Man's Sky was free with all the updates, whereas Fortnite, each update was like a pay. Or Dead by Daylight. Like, if you would have said, like, you didn't get to Dead by Daylight, so it's like, oh, okay, paid packs with more people, or Xenoverse 2, Dragon Ball Z, but like, he specifically picked the No Man's Sky, which is free.
Yeah.
See,
Well, we'll see.
but if they're gonna keep releasing new game modes and new people, there may not be a reason to, like, rush to a AEW Fight Forever 2.
Yeah. We'll know their structure at least like 2 weeks, 3 weeks into it. So I'll probably wait and just see like how they handle it. And then also, of course, like performances and everything, like if it's polished and all of that stuff. So yeah. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think also I heard CM Punk is supposed to be returning at their June show.
So I heard he's returning.
It's a rumor. Yeah.
I don't know.
He every other week he's mad at somebody. So we'll see.
When is it?
We'll see as far as that. Yeah. You want to close?
They got to bring back Ryback.
I see jokes of that every so often. Sometimes they'll say he's Goldberg, or sometimes they say like Ryback is all elite, or they'll say Goldberg is all elite with that graphic, and it'll be Ryback. Like I've seen that a few times now.
That'll be fantastic. But all right, I want to thank y'all for listening in. Enjoy the rest of your week. Make sure to drink plenty of water.
Yes.
And we are out.
Peace.